Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into a story that kind of went from a weird headline to a massive international flashpoint: the US push to actually buy Greenland. I mean, what started out sounding like a really ambitious real estate deal is now a dead serious foreign policy objective, and it is making waves all the way from Washington to Copenhagen.
And yeah, this isn't just talk. This really recent, really forceful statement from former President Donald Trump lays it all out on the table. The U.S. position is crystal clear. This isn't being treated like a negotiation between friends anymore. It's being framed as a core issue of national security. So how on earth did we get here?
Okay, so to really get what's going on, here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll look at the modern controversy, what's happening right now. Then we'll dig into why Greenland is such a huge strategic prize. After that, we'll uncover this long history of American interest in the island, because this is not a new idea. Then, and this is crucial, we'll look at it from the perspective of Greenland and Denmark. And finally, we'll wrap up by asking what could happen next in this crazy high-stakes standoff.
All right, first up, the current pressure campaign. Since his 2024 re-election, Donald Trump hasn't just brought up his interest in Greenland again, he has turned it into an aggressive, full-court press foreign policy goal. We are way beyond the casual what-if talks of his first term. And they're not pulling any punches here. The administration is openly threatening some serious economic pain, like massive tariffs on Danish products, basically to try and force them to the negotiating table. But it gets even more intense. They've started to publicly question whether Denmark even has a legitimate claim to Greenland in the first place. So this isn't just a friendly proposal anymore, it's a direct challenge to another country's sovereignty.
So how's all this going over? Well, with a pretty healthy dose of humor and satire. In Denmark, this petition to buy California has just completely blown up. It's got this hilarious proposal to bring Danish universal healthcare and, all their bike lanes to Beverly Hills. It's just a brilliant, super popular way of pushing back that really shows just how ridiculous the idea of buying and selling a country seems to most people.
And that really brings us to the biggest question, right? Why this intense focus on Greenland? I mean, why all the fuss? It's not just a giant island covered in ice. From a strategic point of view, it is one of the most important pieces of territory on the entire planet. You see, Greenland's value is stacked in layers. Militarily, it's the anchor of what's called the GIUK gap. That's the key naval choke point between Greenland, Iceland, and the UK. It's also smack dab on the shortest flight path for missiles between Russia and the US, which makes the Pituffik Space Base there absolutely vital for early warnings. Then there's the money. It's sitting on huge, untapped reserves of rare earth minerals and oil. And with the Arctic ice melting, whole new global shipping lanes are opening up right on its doorstep. It is, without a doubt, a geopolitical grand prize.
So the whole American argument really comes down to three big things. First, it's about the minerals, getting access to all those resources that are critical for modern tech. Second, it's classic geopolitics, pushing back against Russia and China's growing footprint in the Arctic. And third, there's this new ideological angle, the Monroe Doctrine. It's kind of like an update to the old Monroe Doctrine, the one that told Europe to stay out of the Americas. This version basically asserts U.S. dominance over the entire continent of North America.
But here's the kicker. This is not some new crazy idea that just popped up. The thought of an American Greenland is actually a recurring dream in U.S. foreign policy, one with roots that go back more than 150 years. This timeline really puts everything into perspective. I mean, right after buying Alaska in 1867, the Secretary of State was already eyeing Greenland. During World War II, the U.S. actually occupied the island for strategic purposes. And then in 1946 came a secret, formal offer to buy it. So the push we're seeing today, it's really just the latest chapter in a very long book. And that 1946 offer? It was no joke. $100 million in gold back then, that's like over $1 billion in today's money. The U.S. Secretary of State at the time made the offer directly to his Danish counterpart, saying it was vital for American defense. It was a serious top-secret proposal, and Denmark flatly turned it down. So, okay, the sale didn't happen, but the U.S. still kind of got what it wanted, militarily speaking. The 1951 Defense Agreement basically gave the Pentagon a free pass to do whatever it needed for defense in Greenland. It let the U.S. build and run bases like the supercritical Thule Air Base, which made sure Greenland was firmly in the Western camp all through the Cold War without needing to actually own the place. But hang on, what about the 57,000 people who actually live there? This entire conversation so often skips over the most important voice in the room, the Greenlanders themselves. So let's shift our focus and look at it from their perspective. I mean, wow, this statement from Greenland's political leaders is just incredibly powerful. It says it all, right? It's a declaration of their own unique national identity. The message isn't just no to the US. It's a powerful assertion that they have their own identity, their own culture, and their own right to decide their future, separate from both Copenhagen and Washington.
And Denmark's leadership is right there with them. The Danish prime minister's response became famous for being so blunt, but listen closely to the nuance. She says, Greenland is not Danish. Greenland is Greenlandic. That is such a crucial point. It's Copenhagen itself saying, hey, this isn't our decision to make, which completely goes against the whole idea that it's just a piece of property they can sell off.
And look, this isn't just a nice political sentiment. It's written into law. The 2009 Act on Greenland Self-Government lays out a totally clear democratic roadmap to independence. And the whole process starts and ends with the people of Greenland. It has to. Sure, there are negotiations and approvals, but the first step, the one that kicks it all off, has to be the Greenlanders themselves voting for it in a referendum.
And at the end of the day, this all comes down to one core principle: self-determination. It's a cornerstone of modern international law. And what it does is it completely reframes this whole debate. It's not a real estate deal. It's a question of fundamental human rights. The people of Greenland, and only the people of Greenland, have the right to choose their own future.
So, where does that leave us? Well, we've got a massive collision between raw geopolitical strategy on one side and the principle of national sovereignty on the other. Let's take a look at the state of play right now.
This slide right here really gets to the heart of the whole conflict. For the US, it's a strategic asset, a critical piece on the global chessboard. But for Greenlanders, it's their home, their culture, their future. One side is all about control and security. The other is all about identity and freedom. And those two worldviews just don't see eye to eye.
If you take away one thing from all this, let it be this. The fight over Greenland is a perfect storm. It's the exact spot where great power politics, the realities of climate change, and a nation's basic right to self-determination all crash into each other. And why that matters so much is that what happens here could set the rules for the future of the entire Arctic and for the rights of small nations all over the world. Which leaves us with one final and pretty profound question. Is this vast island a homeland, a nation forging its own destiny? Or, in this new age of intense competition, has it simply become the world's most valuable piece of real estate just waiting to be claimed by the highest bidder or the strongest power? The answer to that question is going to help shape the rest of this century. If this discussion was enjoyed by you or valuable information was gained, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with others who might benefit from it. For more updates, in-depth discussions, and the latest content, stay tuned to the channel.